Oh, shit.
So she cursing and the mama laughing. Okay, y'all.
Bow, baby, we back. Bow, baby, we back. You know, we back and we booming. So it seems like my guy Antonio Speaks, he got some things for us today. So it seems like Antonio Speaks got something for the mind today. He's letting it be known that he's not letting it be known. He's bringing the conversation to the table. These modern day minstrels, these tokens, these idiot actors, these cocoon celebrities. He's bringing all that to the conversation now. Like, when are we gonna address it? And today there's no better time than today to address an issue. And we're gonna take it off from here. So let's go see what Antonio Brown. I said Antonio Brown. We're gonna see what Anthony has to say. Let's get to it. Well, Antonio. I've been calling dude Anthony.
About modern day minstrel shows and ultimately the effect that it ends up having on the youth, the black youth. First off, if you don't know what a minstrel show is, these were a popular form of 19th and early 20th century American theater where performers would use blackface and makeup to portray racist characters of African Americans. These shows featured white and later black artists singing, dancing.
Also, Bill Cosby has the documentary addressing this. When I first saw the documentary, I personally was like, who the fuck in the right mind said, let me go do this? This is right. Let me go do this to make money. Let me make a fool of myself to make money. It's crazy. I mean, at the same time, you got to understand the context these people are living in and, like, you know, how they thought process might. But my thought process now, in hindsight, this shit was stupid. Man, I should have avoided this. Matter of fact, I should have ganged up on it. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a clip in here.
Listen, what happened was my mama was complaining about it being so many rats in the house, and then my family didn't like cats. So instead of having cats, grabbing a couple cats maybe to run around and kill the rats, what my daddy did was he got off work at night. He made sure all the lights was off. He put all of us in one bed, me, T, and Danielle, in the bed with my mama in their bed. He had the lights out. He got a 22 long rifle, and he sit up there and shot the rat. As soon as he see their eyes glow in the dark, and he just sitting there picking off rats.
Well, Big Meech was talking about what they do to rats. Y'all should treat them more like a rat. But let's get back to it.
And telling jokes that depicted black people as lazy, ignorant, and childlike to satisfy white audiences. Now in 2026, the script has absolutely flipped because instead of white people being entertained by this stuff, it's mainly just other black people. And a great example of a minstrel show is Zeus TV and pretty much all of the shows on that damn network. All the black women here are just seen as angry, loud, and fighting all day. And elements of just what they talk about in the show and what they represent are actually leaking onto the youth. But I'm just at the point, y'all, where it's like white supremacy is always going to be around. But there is a lot of shit in our control that we can change, and a lot of that is by the things that we consume. Now, to be fair, whether Zeus TV exists or not, some of the conditions that are in the black community will still happen. But at the same time, it's also kind of fueling the flames. It's not the biggest problem, but it's not doing any good. And all of this is pretty much, you know, capitalism. The owner is a black man, but it's like, at what cost? He's making all this money, but negatively impacting his community. And it's just like, bro, the things that we consume in 2026 is much different from what a lot of our people used to consume back in the day. I feel like this shit was all constructed. Back in the early 1960s and 70s, people used to tune in to live debates. You know, people such as Malcolm X, Huey P. Newton, James Baldwin, Angela Davis, Kwame Ture, right? People used to watch these black intellectuals debate and strategize on how to improve the black community. Fast forward to 2026,
My guy did not forget and did mention Carly Stoke Michael. He brought up James Baldwin. I had a James Baldwin photograph. Oh, what is it? Portrait in my crib, but I took that down because I need to put another room. But you get the idea, though. James Baldwin is highly underrated. Matter of fact, James Baldwin is not talked about enough as a free, elusive thinker, philosopher at that. Because he put it like this. When he left the U.S., He felt free. He felt free from the society's shackles, society's invisible shackles, expectations, perceptions, all these stereotypes. He felt free of it. Well, he felt free. But we'll dive into that later in different segments and the lane that he felt free in, you know. But let's get back to it.
You got motherfuckers watching black.
Oh, before I go, Carl Stoke Michael once said, Martin Luther King made, that's my guy. Martin Luther King was a real one. Hear it from my mouth. And I think I said in other videos, I don't like MLK. Now, I like MLK. I never hated MLK. MLK was more of a, MLK, why are you letting these people touch you? What? You got this much power and you like the physical reincarnation of Christophe Henry. If you know who Christophe Henry is, go read the book The Colonial System Unveiled and go do your goddamn research. But if you look at Christophe Henry and Martin Luther King Jr., they look damn near the same. You would have thought Martin Luther King Jr. was the reincarnate, but he definitely did his work. He definitely carried his cross his way. So we definitely got to applaud him and respect him and what's the word called? Acknowledge him for that. But let's get back to it.
People fighting all day on TV. We can't help but to sit back and wonder what the hell happened. Now I want to bring up like the effects this have on the youth. Now right here is an example of what I mean. And it is a video of a bunch of little girls, and let's watch it first.
Attitude.
You said what?
Walk off.
That's what I thought.
Attitude.
Okay.
Walk off. Attitude. Walk off. Attitude.
What?
Walk off. Attitude.
What's up?
Walk off.
Want to fight?
Attitude.
What was that?
Oh, walk off.
So like a lot of the like attitude shit and the way they're moving, this is what is depicted in these shows, and it's depicted as what they should be doing. Teaching them to have an attitude and to be a stereotype. You know what I'm saying? The angry black woman stereotype. We all know that. Why is that being taught to these little girls? What is the point of teaching this to them? Let's teach them other things. Let's teach them to vote. Teach them about Angela Davis. Teach them about Assata Shakur. Why are we teaching them to have attitude? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? And here's another example. These little girls have been going viral for all of the wrong reasons. I literally just made a video on neglectful parents.
This is what I was talking about. Not even this is what I was talking about. I was just talking to somebody about this. Like, these kids watch everything. They're at the age where they absorb everything. I think people got to take psychology more. Y'all be having to choose between psychology and sociology, but it really should be psychology mandatory. Because once I took psychology and I understand the different stages of development and what occurs during each of these stages of child development, I came to the understanding that what you do matters. This is more of a time thing. But the time part came outside of children and came from just interacting with women, different women in these personal relationships. You got to give anything you want to grow needs time. You got to give it time, present. If you are not there physically, the person doesn't know what you think, doesn't think like you, so they're gonna take it as, oh, okay, it doesn't fuck with me. So with that being said, y'all, it's time. When it comes to raising kids nowadays, I think people get confused with, I want my kids to have what I didn't have, but at the same time, at that expense, you're gonna give your kid the time that your parents gave you that they didn't have, in terms of you getting all the newest flashy shit. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to it, I look at it like this. You got to give your kids time. You got to give them right. You got to read to your kid. If you don't tell your kid the history, they're not going to know the history. You got to build for the future generation. This is their generation. We're already 20 now. If my generation this is like 20 years ago, 30, 10, 15 years ago. Now we in a new generation. So it's all about the youth and letting our youth absorb this nasty, disgusting, what's the word called, misogynistic, feministic BS. Is not gonna have a positive impact on the future and was not gonna sustain the black race. You know, we're better in numbers. If we know that we're better in numbers, there's no point of us, you know, taking that little percentage, absorbing BS. Like, you know, you gotta make it as optimal as possible. You gotta increase the likelihood by any means necessary. But let's get back to it.
Parents about a week ago, and I would have added them to this video. And I was thinking about doing a full video on it, but you know how it'd be so weird to even make topics like this, like do videos like this, because it can easily fall into anti-black shit. So I always want to establish that.
I could understand that, especially when you hear some of these black conservatives talking points. Some of what they be saying be thorough. Like it be okay. I could understand you gotta raise your kid, but you gotta whoop their ass. Ooh. But then again, at the same time, that's not gonna be the end all be all. Because if we do that, then too much. I look at too much of anything as a bad thing. We gotta have that balance. You know, we gotta have a outcome. I think too much of everything is a bad thing when you don't have an outcome and you're just going with the win. But when you have an outcome, too much. There's no such thing as too much of anything because you know exactly how much you need and what you're going for because you have a desired outcome. I think that's the thing we got to aim for, we as a people. I think someone brought the conversation up, like, really, what are we talking about nowadays? There's no intellectual debates how to move the community forward. This is not something that's talked about commonly. You know, this is more like intellectual barbershop talk. I say intellectual because this is really some intellectual barbershop talk when you can go beyond just the government this, government that, but you can go back in history and be able to recall certain events, certain stories, certain procedures and policies and acts that was brought up and take place. So with that being said, the person that was watching the video was called KSI or KRI, KS1. But yeah, KS1 brought this interesting topic, like what are we really talking about? And like Antonio just brought up too, really, like, what do people had in intellectual debates? Now we just out here talking about football teams and Shador Sanders being blackballed. Okay, what are we going to change that? Why are we not even talking about the 300,000 black women that got fired earlier this year? 300,000. Why don't we just also talk about the civil rights department that just opened up in the government that has an all-white staffing? All white. How are you in a civil rights department and you're white? Matter of fact, scrap the white part. How are you in the civil rights department? And the fact of the matter is, it's all white when it wasn't all white that started civil rights. Matter of fact, it wasn't all whites that was dying for civil rights, that gave their blood, their life source, that messed up their families to get this out the way. So it's interesting, you know what I'm saying, to say the least. It's very, very interesting to say the least. But let's continue on.
I'm not that fucking channel. If you're a white person in this bitch thinking you finna come and get your rocks off, your racism, I'm finna agree with you. No, y'all got your own shit to deal with. So, you know what I'm saying? This is me just holding my people accountable, you know what I'm saying, type shit. But these little girls, they were talking about their first day of school. Let's just watch it first, because once again, this is that like baddie aesthetic shit.
Hey. Oh shit.
So she cursing and the mama laughing. Okay, y'all.
What the? Okay, y'all, what is Gibby?
4th grade.
What grade you going to?
4th grade.
Okay, fourth grade, first grade. Thank you. It's them Barbies. Let me see y'all eyes. Ooh, tell them this
You
shit
can't play with those.
stamper.
But I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. They look like little girls, but once again, it's like the values that she's teaching them. You know, this like, you know.
You can marry in my team.
Ooh, shoe check. Let me see how y'all coming. Okay. Ooh, what the fuck? Ooh. What is I gonna do? What the fuck? Get your ass off that fucking floor, bro, before you piss me out.
Okay.
Walk. Attitude. Ooh, walk out.
Why is she sticking up a middle finger? Why does she?
Matter of fact, why is she cussing in front of her kids? Like, even when it comes to my siblings, if I cuss in front of my siblings, like, this is serious, this is raw, this is me really on your head. But the fact of the matter is, you as a parent, you as an authority figure, you as the higher chain of command, you as the higher authority is held to a much higher standard. Why are you out here stooping to that level of insulting and using vulgar language in front of your children? And then if they start using it in front of you, you will tell them, what is wrong with you, boy? Stay in the child's place. But the child's telling you, I done grew up in age. You know, I feel like I should have some few privileges and access that you have. But you trying to tell the child, what you mean by that? He's saying, well, I'm just talking. I ain't really doing nothing out of ordinary. And then this is to see that Pandora box opens up. And to avoid it, just don't cuss in front of the child. And if the child does cuss, let the child know that there's a whole plethora of words and phrases they could use that it doesn't have to be those vulgar, immature, what's the word called? Vulgar, immature youth language. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be mature if you want to be treated as an adult. And that starts with how you talk and carry yourself, but not how you carry yourself, but also how you express yourself, you know? So Why are you cussing in front of kids? I don't even cuss in front of my parents, and I'm 24 years old, and I still won't. 30, 60, 40, I still won't cuss in front of my parents. But let's keep going though.
She know what that is. Come on, bro. Once again, that's not cute. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand a lot of this shit you may think is funny now, but once they get older, bro, that's what happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be out of hand. And it's like, this is my fear as a parent, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm gonna do the best job at raising my boys. Me and my wife gonna do the best job at that. But then we'll send them off to school, and we got children that aren't raised by decent parents. Kids are like sponges. Peer pressure is real. So it be like, man, bro.
Ooh, attitude. Ooh, walk out.
So this right here, they ain't here listening to Pooh Shiesty. I'm gonna mute the music, but first off, red flags. None of these kids are in car seats. He look like he about 3 years old, not in the car seat. They like 6, 8, 9, not in the car seat. This is crazy. Bumping Pooh Shiesty. These kids know this shit, but do they know they ABCs? Do they know how to read? Do they know how to write? I do not care that your kids know how to do this dumb shit. Come on, man.
Seriously, I mean, as a kid coming up, my mom, she had me on, what's the joint called? I be having these crazy stories, but my mom's had me sit down and write my name in a notebook. You know, what's the joint called? A composition notebook. Had me write my name from the top of the first line all the way through the whole page of my name. Make sure my handwriting was good. If she didn't like the handwriting, it didn't count. So I remember I didn't go outside the whole day. I was mad. I was livid. Everybody's outside and I'm inside writing. But now my handwriting good. I be seeing a lot of shitty handwriting. I can't write cursive, you know, but my handwriting is legible and I can make it even more legible. So I ain't too worried about that. But yeah, some people, they just scribble. You know, I ain't gonna get into that.
So once again, man, we see examples that this stuff actually does have an impact on the children. Hell, some of these damn dumbass adults. I feel like in the black community, man, we get mad at a lot of, outward forces of people doing things to us. But we gotta do a better job at nipping a lot of dumb shit in the butt, like what I'm talking about in this video. So I want to say, man, let's boycott all the minstrel shows in the black community. The Zeus networks, the baddie shows, dumb 20v like ones, like, you know what I'm saying, bro? What are we doing? Because I think what Zeus TV is, you gotta pay a subscription for that shit. That's what, like a couple of dollars a month. I know it ain't much, but shit, take that money you spend it on that website and add it to a savings, add it to a Roth IRA. Shit, get a little life insurance policy with that money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could put that into something else.
Zeus Network is 300% the Black American Zionist pipeline. It's 300% what it is. I just got done making this video about American Zionism, following Lindsey Graham saying,
I'm not with you, I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day.
And it was in reference to this war in Iran. I got done making the video about that, and I'm scrolling through my TikTok, and then I see this creator, Madiswan. She's working on a series where she asked the question,
is it that crazy to say that Zeus Network is a CIA psyop?
It is the Black American Zionist pipeline. This is going to be a yes and. I'm sure she's going to make some great points in that series. I'm going to check it out. But this is something that I try to tell people all of the time. And I'm going to make it really, really quick on just my end of this theory. Lemuel Plummer owns Zeus Network. They're behind baddies and all of the wild fights that you see from reality TV that aren't on actual TV. That's Zeus Network. He's behind all that. His parents are actually pretty prominent in the religious community, very specifically the Kojic Church, I believe. His dad is actually a high-ranking member in the Kojic Church. More importantly, his dad is also the bishop, hear me out, the bishop to the Kojic Church of America, and guess where? Israel. Not that is a direct point A to point B, but I will say that in the same way Ghislaine Maxwell's dad just so happens to have known spy allegations, and here she is today dealing with more spy allegations. Why wouldn't it be the case that Bishop Plummer, the Kojic bishop to Israel, his son having a media company, why would that not be, some pipeline-y shit? And this topic is so interesting because I grew up in that pipeline. Like, I went to a Pentecostal church growing up. That's what my family did. And then you hear them speak of Israel in this kind of way. They take the trips. Pretty much all of the money that I presume supports that, if there was any support from his family, which, by the way, why would there be no support from his family if he's trying to start a company? Let's just be real about something. But I just would assume that some of that money is making it there. Some of that influence is making it there. And of course, that influence is then making its way to the programming that you see. All the uncensored, literal black on black violence, not that exists, but in the case of Zeus Network, that's just kind of what it is. Not cool, in my opinion. And it's interesting when you think about where that could be sourced from.
I watch romance movies. Fuck all that bullshit with Zeus Network. I don't understand, man. Bro watches that, I'm already turned off. Like, I'm like, all right. X that out. Why is you watching that BS? You can't find nothing else on. You can watch Love Island. You watching drama and not romance. What is you doing? You absorbing BS.
The influences that would lead somebody to make a company that makes that kind of stuff.
Y'all know we love a good conspiracy over here. How y'all feel about that? I truly do believe a lot of this shit is influencing the youth, whether that be on the same spectrum as it is with the rappers and shit, dog. But at the end of the day, man, we do have a choice to not listen to this shit and to not buy Zeus TV and those type of networks. Wake up, man. But yeah, dog, I just truly want the best for us, man. I be so frustrated seeing everything that's going on, you know, black people being lynched. It's like, man, bro, we got all these outside forces, then we got all this bullshit. We are just keeping ourselves distracted. It's truly frustrating, man. And the deeper you go into this stuff, the more angry it'll make you. You know what I'm saying? You'll be out here seeming crazy. People be like, Tonio, why you be like, it ain't that deep, bro. It really is, man. But yeah, I'm gonna end it off right here, man. If y'all want a full video on Zeus Network and a Boondocks episode that actually correlated to,
y'all, look, that's the end of that. But as y'all can see, like, he also conscious and aware that, y'all, the shit they got on TV is fucking with the kids. Like, I understand you put the TV on, the kids off your ass, but like, look, kids are like sponges. They absorb what they see, and if they're not seeing you, whatever the nearest thing they see, they're gonna absorb that. So do as you may. Hey, stay dangerous, like I tell y'all. Until the next one.